Good morning. I have mapped out my process on the Cobra Bodywork. What we've got to do first, of course, first step is doing the body work, the body filling, using fillers, using kitty hair, number of different things to correct imperfections, major imperfections in the body, which I'm going to show you in a second. After the filler work, then I go in and start priming. Now, the doors and the hood and all of that is at a standstill right now because I have decided on a plan of action. I'm going to, while this is on the stand, I'm going to be doing the body filler work and start the preliminary work as far as doing the 320 phase once I get all the filler work done. Now the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to have to pause work on the Cobra temporarily once all of this is said and done. The reason for that is, if you recall in a previous video, I've been having trouble getting the FI dialed in because I'm a moron apparently. But the good news is I do have an appointment with a tuning shop in Springfield, Missouri, and they're going to try to get it up and running and get it drivable and get all of that ironed out. That appointment is the first part of December. I've also decided that I've still got a little bit of fitment work to do on the doors and especially on the trunk. And I need the body on the chassis. It's going to be easier for the tuners to work on the chassis without the body on it. So I'm going to do what I can on this, starting with the filler work today. This is going to be a short video just doing the preliminary stuff. Then that goes and gets the tuning work done. Once that gets back, body's going to go back on the chassis, fitment of the doors, then we start the body work in earnest. Got a plan? Let's get busy. Areas that I'm going to be working on here, I've got some issues right here, and these are areas that aren't easily seen. You can see here I got this pinhole filled and I've got some fine tuning to do there, but that's not a big deal. I've got some rough areas under here that I'm going to use filler on. I'm going to fill these divots in this, and then I'm going to fine tune all of this and get that nice and even. Also, had a little bit of an incident with the drill here. Got a hole here I don't need. I'm going to fill that. You can see over here, this one is not quite as bad, but I still have some work to do on that particular one. This one is actually much better than that one over there. Now going to the back, and I'm a little bit stressed for space in here. If we look at the back and down the side, all of this actually looks really good now. That's going to be passable. This here, I've got pinholes to do as far as filler goes there, but that can wait. This particular wheel arch is pretty good. I'm not going to have to really do any work on that. That's just a matter of evening this stuff out, which is not that big of a deal. Going to the other side, if I can squeeze in over here. Those are my new paint stands, by the way. Looking at this wheel arch, I've already done some work on this one. It's pretty good. So I'm not really concerned with anything there. Again, I can come in here and sand all this and fine tune this, but I'm going to do the filler work on the wheel arch over there and on that hole. I'm going to be using filler to fill that hole. It's so small, it's not going to be a problem. These, of course, need to be fine-tuned as well. This is a little bit uneven, not a big deal there. So, looking over here, in addition to that, all of this I've done work on in previous videos. This all looks very, very good. That's not going to be a problem. All of that is just fine. So the only major filler work I've got to do is that hole in the mounting area, this wheel arch primarily. So let's mix some body filler and get busy. One thing I like about this particular filler, which is basically a budget version of Evercoat Rage, really easy to sand, but it's got a wonderful shelf life. You can see this has been shelved for quite a bit, but the consistency is still really, really good. I am a novice at using body filler. I'm still getting used to getting the right amount of hardener per this, so oftentimes I have to work fast because I put too much hardener in it or not enough. But I'm getting better. Got a little bit of separation of the components in there, which is normal after the filler sits for a while. Not a big deal, just got to mix it up. Down at the bottom is where it's liquefied a little bit. See if I can get this in here and actually show you what I'm talking about. Those wet areas, that came off of the bottom, so that's part of mixing it up really well. What I've learned the hard way on doing this is taking your time. It's just body filler. If you screw it up, sand it off and start over. I am not a professional body man, don't claim to be one. Just trying to learn and save the money to do it myself. We are just about there with this. I like using the putty because it's not much mixing. It does take longer to dry and set and cure. The downside to the putty is you can't do the bigger jobs. It's only for very fine tuning the pinholes and stuff. When you have issues as broad as what I'm dealing with here, I have to go with the filler. Now, when I do work on the doors, once I get everything back on the body, I'm going to have to do some major work on one of the doors because the gaps are not lining up. I'm probably going to use the kitty hair, which is body filler, but it's fiberglass infused. It's like adding fiberglass. But for something as small as this polyester filler will work perfectly. All right. I'm going to end up wasting a little bit because, like I said, I'm still getting used to actually how much I need to use on this stuff. All part of the process. Of course, the filler hardener does tend to separate and get liquidy if you're not careful, so be sure and knead it to mix it up really well. And I wonder what my dogs are barking at, probably my brother-in-law. I like this filler mixing board, the paper. My brother actually turned me onto these. My dad always used an old paint thinner can that he cleaned up, the metal can, and used the handle to hold on to it. They don't make the cans like that anymore though, so it's kind of hard to use those because they have the labels built into them as opposed to something you can peel off. So those dyes tend to get into what you're working on, so that's not an option anymore. But that's the way my dad always did it. Hopefully I've got this mixed up well enough. always heard that you want to mix this way instead of swirling it because you want to avoid air bubbles. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's a little harder to mix it this way. It takes a little longer, but it saves you trouble on the back end. Of course, I can come back and clean up the mess I'm making here. The main thing is I want to work it into that hole so I don't have any problems. And I may have to come back and fine tune it a little more. But the important thing is to get it in there and get it dealt with. What I'm filling here is just basically divots that were created in the manufacturing process on the actual body panel. And I'm basically having to fix it. It's not really bad enough to warrant filling it with fiberglass. This will do good, but it's still pretty bad, so I'm going to have to do some work here and get this done. And of course, once I sand it off, it'll be great. I'm using the novice, don't know what the hell I'm doing approach and putting it on heavy and sanding it off. It creates more work in the sanding off process, but at least I get it taken care of. Let's see what else we've got here. Got one area right here I've got to do. Kind of awkward getting in there. The price of being a novice. Alright, it's extremely rough, extremely messy because I suck at this, but once I get the sandpaper a hold of it, it'll smooth out nicely. That'll straighten that out, and then it's simply a matter of evening out the lines, which I can do with my sander. Over here, not much really to do on that one, so I left it alone. And back here, of course, I did a little bit of work, as I noted, filling in some gaps there and over there. Now what I'm going to do now is simply wait for this to dry. Got a busy day ahead. Have my wife returning from her trip today, so I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to this. I just wanted to give you an idea of where we are. I'm going to let this dry for a considerable amount of time because I don't want to, I did lay it on kind of thick in some areas, so I want to be sure that I have ample time for it to cure completely through before I start sanding it off. Again, a body shop guy is much better at this, puts on only what he needs. I have to cake it on and sand it off. It's kind of like the welding approach where an expert welder gets the stacking dimes look, and somebody like me who's a novice that can't really weld very well lays it on, make sure you get plenty of penetration, then grind back the excess. It is what it is, but I never claim to be an expert on this stuff. I'm learning as we go. Again, the chassis is going to the tuner in about 4 weeks. My plans are get the bodywork roughed in on this, get those wheel arches taken care of, get that hole taken care of, and once that's done, this comes back from the tuner. Hopefully it's running by then. Fingers crossed. I can put the body on it and really get busy on doing the fine tuning on the bodywork and getting the door fitment and everything, and actually get that trunk worked out as well. I think I might have had an epiphany as to why my doors weren't fitting quite as well as they are, and if my epiphany works well, the fitment is going to be much better than it was. It already was not bad. I'm just not satisfied with it. So we'll let that go for what it is. And in the meantime, under plastic, it is awaiting interior work. You saw the video on the seat fitment on that. This one's ready to go to the interior shop. And once I get to a point where I've done everything I can on this, I'm sure I'll run out of things to do on this on the stand before I get ready to send that to the tuner. We're going to get back and we're going to actually mount the cowl and weld it to the 66 Mustang. Today's update. Thank you for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you like the content. There's much more of this stuff coming in. Got a little filler on me, got to take care of that. Lots more of this content coming, so be sure and hit like and subscribe. Like I said, I'd really appreciate it if you join me. We're getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, so you never know. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.